Eagles! What a football weekend. That's a football weekend, man. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got my fill. Now, again, I don't really care about scores or stats or what have you. It's not really what I'm eyeballing when it comes to watching exhibition football. I really do look at the seconds and thirds. Tells me a little bit about your roster. Also, it tells me a little bit about your work in the offseason and what your front office did on preparing for the upcoming season. Are you prepared? Do you have good backups? You don't want to tip your hand too much in exhibition football. People nowadays will game plan you off of any shit you do in the exhibition season. So you're not really going to see a lot of game planning. You're going to see a lot of guys in vanilla offenses and defenses for that matter. So you don't get too bent out of shape. And I've got my takeaways from that Eagle game against the Ravens and also the weekend in football. We're going to get to that, I promise you. Gary Cobb will join us as he always does on Mondays at 4:30. We'll get his takeaways as well. Real quick, and I know this is going to be a sore spot with my guy Tone. Dude, how many times am I going to tell you guys about the 76ers? Why do you cover them? If I'm Joel Embiid, I want out. I want out. I don't want anything. I'm in my prime. Whether he can lead a team to an NBA championship is not the point. I want out of that train wreck. It's not going to get better. It's been this shitty story since 2014. Okay? Since 2014, the same shit's been going on. I'm saying this, if I'm Joel Embiid, and again, guys, I don't know if he can lead a team to an NBA title. But I know he can't do it in Philly. Not with that organization. Not with Josh Harris. Not with Josh Harris. And this guy's going to ask you for a new building downtown? Man. Wow. Man, how are you going to push that past Philadelphia taxpayers when this guy's never brought you anything but disappointment? I want out. I'm not even James Harden and all that. I don't care. I'm talking about the Sixers. James Harden's washed up. He was washed up when he came here. He was washed up. And I told you, Daryl Morey's not a good GM. Where? Almost getting it done in Houston. 3-1 lead. You lose. Dude, I'm not going to go too knee deep in on this. I so don't care. Why would you care anymore? You know what sucks? And I get it. It's your team. It's your civic pride. And it rips at you, especially when people rip it up in front of you. The 76ers, even when I was a kid, they were one of my favorite teams. Even being a New England kid, Sixers were because they had Dr. J on the team. And they had Moses Malone. I loved that whole 83 team. But dude, this is a far cry even from, you know what was crazy about the Allen Iverson drama that you had in the building? At least you won. At least you had a superstar that was carrying you places. Crazy. You got drama with a washed up athlete. Who in the world has drama with a washed up athlete? You know who does? People who love their sports teams like Philadelphia. I feel for you on this one. That's a bunch of shit, man. Those people don't give a shit except for taking your money and rolling out a mediocre product. If I'm Joel Embiid, I demand to be traded. Get me out of here. And it's not out of Philly. It's out of the Wells Fargo building. It's a cancerous building. They're cancer. Man, they can't get out of their own way. Hey, and when you have a team like Philadelphia Eagles in the same city as you, it's magnified even more. You know why it's magnified more? Because Philly sports fans get a chance to see how it's done right. And it makes the Flyers and the Sixers look even worse. It's one thing to be in a city that's got a ton of shitty teams. It's another thing to be in a city where an organization is getting it right. And you're watching the Eagles do it right. Hiring and getting people like Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith in the building. I mean, it's magnified. I mean, hey, now he's on Embiid's side. I just got through telling you, dude, that guy will never lead anybody to a title. But if that's me and I'm the reigning MVP, get me the F out of town. What side is that? I never told you he's going to win you a championship. I just told you, get me out of a shithole known as the Sixer organization. It's not on anybody's side. It's a train wreck all around. Whatever, guys. I'm going to give you my takeaways here in a second from what I saw with Eagles and Ravens. The effort level was okay. Was it great? But you're never really going to get really great effort levels when you're playing so many 2s and 3s. You're not going to get a ton of spectacular effort. Okay, so you have to you have to kind of modify your takes a little bit because there's going to be a lot of inconsistency. And there's going to be a lot of guys that are running around out there not knowing their position. There was some good and there was some bad. We're going to get to both here. So let's start. As I've been saying to you since the Eagles drafted Jalen Carter, that you're going to see explosiveness. And you're going to see a lot of things as advertised. He's got to figure the game out a little bit. But you can see that his explosiveness, the use of his hands, how he runs to the ball, his pursuit angles, everything, in my opinion, that you watch in a potential superstar player was on exhibit in that game. In small doses, of course. There's not a lot, but anytime I've seen him play, I think you've seen a guy who has shown great explosiveness, and that's, to me, the most important thing for a defensive tackle. And seeing him and making sure that this guy here is going to be everything as advertised. I love the kid. I think he's got an opportunity to be the next Jerome Brown. He needs more reps. They need to keep putting him in a position to win. I think he's going to be a fabulous pass rusher. Okay, I really do. I think he's going to be a fabulous pass rusher. Let me ask you this, Tone, can you give me an update? Did Rashad Penny get hurt in that game already? And when I say this to you about Rashad Penny is exactly what we thought he was. Nobody's ever questioned whether or not the guy's a good player or not. They've always questioned his durability. And to me, that will always be the number one thing that ends up being his downfall. He teases you. He absolutely teases you. Did Penny get hurt again? Just from what I heard he got nicked up in the game already. Okay? Already got banged up. No injury report. We'll keep you updated on that. I heard he got beat up a little bit in that game, but that's okay because this is who he is. He's going to tease you. Yeah. I'll say this to you. Watching DeAndre Swift cut and move around in traffic is a complete upgrade from Miles Sanders. Now, I don't know what his durability is going to be, but I'll tell you something. Him in open space will be a problem for DBs. Okay? He's going to be a problem. for defensive backs in space. Dude, let me tell you something, man. You get 16 games out of him, I think this guy could be exactly what the Eagles are looking for. And to me, would it be an upgrade to Miles Sanders? Is this an upgrade to Miles Sanders, 800 yards rushing and 400 or 500 yards receiving? Yes, because I think that's what they want that offense to look like. I watched him make some cuts. You haven't had a running back in the 2 years I've been covering the Eagles with that kind of elusiveness. He doesn't run to contact. He's an evader, and that's a good thing. Keeping him upright. And by the way, I would make this point to you guys. I might not play him anymore during the exhibition season without the ones in there. I don't give a shit about playing him against Cleveland this weekend. Get him in those controlled scrimmages. I don't need to see DeAndre Swift banged up going into the season. Because if that guy can play the way I think he's going to be able to fit into the offense, he's going to be an added weapon, which is going to enhance the ability for other teams to have to cover another guy. Yeah, put Gainwell, RB1, he ain't better than him. That ain't happening. Swift is a ball player. Okay? Swift is a ball player, man. Those cuts he was making in traffic like that, man, he's a good-looking talent. He's a good-looking talent. Brown had 9 solo tackles, going to be a fine safety. I'll get to him in a second. Nakobe Dean in street clothes. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit here and make excuses up like the Philadelphia media is making excuses up for this guy not being in a game where he needs reps. That guy needs reps. Okay? He needs reps. He's in street clothes. He had 34 snaps. He's not practicing game speed, and he's not practicing continuity, and he's not practicing communications. I haven't even talked to you if he can play yet. I think you got a problem at the mic. I think you have a problem. You can't save this guy. This guy needs some reps. Okay? He needs game reps. Sitting around in helmets and shorts going through a 28-minute practice is not going to help. My opinion, there is no chance on hell Nakobe Dean is the answer at middle linebacker for you. I hope I'm wrong. Tone says the nice thing about Swift's 20-yard run was he showed that nimble ability to cut and dodge contact, something that Sanders can't do. Then immediately lowered that shoulder and welcomed the contact. Yeah, no, he's a good-looking back. He's kind of built in the same kind of style as Christian McCaffrey. Okay? He's kind of built like that with that kind of style with McCaffrey. You've got to just preserve the guy. Okay? You got to preserve him. John says, not worried, but I want to see why the Eagles are so confident. John, how about this, John? I agree with you. See what John just said? He's not worried about Dean, but I want to see why the Eagles are so confident. Okay. Hey, John, we're in agreement, just different language. Yep. Me too. I want to see what you got. Me too, John. Hey, John, I think you're fair. I think that's fair. The Eagles are very confident. Right there, John, that's a perfect take on Nakobe Dean. Not worried, but I want to see why the Eagles are so confident. Perfectly said, John. Perfectly said. Okay? They're so confident. I want to know why you're confident. Eagle fan, right? Let's come to the middle and go, John's got the take on Dean. Okay, I'm confident, but I want to see why you're confident. Great take. Way to start Monday off. Sean Bradley, lost for the year. Special teams guy. Depth at the position. Again, something you don't want to have happen in an exhibition game. You're losing depth on your team. This is depth. I'm not saying he's a frontline starter. I'm not saying he's going to get reps playing linebacker. However, he's a guy that creates the depth for you on your team. And Tone says he's in a contract year. That's always terrible for the player, great for the organization. Okay? It's great for the Eagles because he'll negotiate off that. You know what? I'll tell you this. The kid Morrow wasn't horrible. Okay? He wasn't horrible. The Morrow kid wasn't horrible. Showed some that he could keep the plays from going to his outside shoulder. Was good in pursuit. He wasn't horrible. And this goes back to what Tone was saying about, hey, maybe if he's playing with better people in front of him, maybe you're going to see a better Nicholas Morrow. He wasn't awful. Okay? Pursuit angles were good. Set the edge pretty well. Drop back in some coverage. He's not horrible. Now, I'm just watching the way he moves out there. You know, game planning and shit like that. Nobody's game planning anything right here. But he's not horrible. My takeaway also was this. I was very impressed with the communications of the young and inexperienced secondary players on how they were talking back and forth. Did you see them moving their heads, talking back and forth? It looked to me like there were more communication going on in that one game, in the Ravens game, than there was in the entire Super Bowl. I saw more guys communicating in that Ravens game on Saturday than I did the entire 4 quarters of Super Bowl play. They were talking to one another. They were helping each other. They were making some plays. There was energy. There's no question about it. As a group, let me talk about them first as a group. Then I'll get to Ricks and Brown. They were communicating. Everybody was on the same page. They were well coached. You could see they were talking. And by the way, I think that's an innate talent that guys have, that they can sit and talk to one another in game and play. That's good, man. It was good. It was better than I thought. It was better than I thought. They were communicating back and forth. And again, not a ton of game playing out there. And it's not so important who the quarterback was on the other side. It's more watching what you're doing and how you're moving and how you're talking and how you're communicating, how you're running the plays, how you're keeping pursuit angles, all of that. Looked pretty good. Tanner McKee is the second quarterback on the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay? Nice start. For a guy that can't jump over a ruler, finding a player like that in later rounds, what was he, a 7th rounder? Holy cow. If he can play, and you found a 7th round guy like a Brock Purdy, and this guy can be your backup, and you found a guy who can play in this league in the 7th round at that position, holy shit, man, is that underdrafting? I mean, if he continues his progress and how he continues to go along here, and he continues to get better, he could turn himself into a 3rd-round pick. Okay? 188th overall, Stanford product, 6th-round draft choice. Funny, almost right around Brady's pick. He's a pretty good-looking player. Moved his head around, slid in the pocket, I threw the ball down the field vertically. I mean, not horrible. Not horrible. 6'6", 230, built like Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, he's kind of built like Big Ben. He looks like Big Ben back there moving around. Not quite as athletic as Big Ben, but he moves around like Big Ben back there a bit. So I was kind of impressed with him. I came away going, yeah, I like him. He's decent. With an opportunity to get better and make the team. Now with that new rule that you have where you can keep 3 guys, he can make a ball club. He's good. He's a good player. Marcus Mariota, he's just all over the place. There was no fluid movement. He was chaotic. He went to his number one go-to, which is if he's not reading the play, he's going to take off running. He's going to get killed out there because he's just running around like he's playing schoolyard football. But it's been pretty standard in his career like that. He goes to his go-to when he can't find a wideout, and he takes off. And he's just, I don't know. I mean, and I like the kid. I just don't think he's good enough to play a quarterback position in the NFL. He's not good enough to be the backup in case of an emergency for the Eagles. He's just not good enough. My opinion, Ian Book looks better than Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota has a name. That's it. Ian Book looks better. I mean, just the way Book handles himself in the pocket, he's got courage in the pocket. Now, when we talk about McKee, we're talking about if things go sideways and the Eagles need a game or two. Okay? Pete Toilet goes, Book is horrible. Mariota's worse. Mariota's worse. He's terrible. Not a good look. Okay? Not a good look. For the backup offensive line, they were okay. I mean, they were spotty. They were okay. They weren't exceptional. They were okay. They showed some versatility going up and down the line of scrimmage. Wasn't spectacular, to say the least. And you're not as deep as you were a year ago. You're just not, from what I can see by the talent you have. But again, Stoutland will look at all the mistakes that were made in that game. They gave up some inside pass rush moves. There was a couple outside shoulder moves too that they ended up giving some pressure up too. So they'll fix that. Maybe some of it had to do with splits. The splits seemed awful wide, and they started lining up in wide threes, and they were jetting off the three. So to me, I thought the O-line, again, the backups in the O-line, doesn't seem, we'll see against Cleveland, you just don't seem to be as deep as you were a year ago. But, okay, again, you guys are making it sound like I think Ian Book is a great player. He's better than Mariota. Mariota sucks. I'm not telling you that Ian Book would be on my team as my 3. It's who you have. It's who you have. If you thought Marcus Mariota looked good for who he is and the job they're asking him to do and the money they're paying him, you're completely high. And with the financial commitment that you don't have in Book, it's worth having Book on the team. You guys never get that. That money's a part of this. You can't pay $5 million to a third-team quarterback. You can't spend that kind of money on a third-team guy who's your emergency guy when the backup is on a 6-round deal as a rookie. That's wasted money. Okay? You're wasting cash. Book is better financially for you. Okay? Always put money into the evaluation. Jordan Davis is not a pass rusher, and I'm convinced he'll never be. He's not an every down defensive lineman. He is a nose guard. If it's 3rd and long, he will not be on the field. The 13th pick is a 1st and 2nd down player as of today. As of today, Jordan Davis will never be a decent pass rusher until he shows otherwise. He wasn't at Georgia. He wasn't in his rookie year. And you could see he's not really with a lot of moves. I don't give a shit how athletic he is. My opinion, Milton Williams will probably have more production this year than him when it comes to tackles and sacks and tackles for losses and hits on the quarterback. He's never been a pass rusher in his entire career. He's never been. I don't know why Eagle fans all of a sudden think he's going to turn himself in. He's not a 3-down lineman. He cannot pass rush. Okay? He can't. Hey, you know what he did? He got into better shape. This is still about ability. Okay, so Danko's, he wasn't there to get sacks. So you think the 13th pick in the draft is a first and second down guy, and you're going to take your first rounder off the field and put Milton Williams in a 4-man line. Overdrafted. Tremendously. Okay? And for the record, you did draft him to be a 3 technique. You know why they're lining him up out wide? They're trying to give him one-on-one to see if he can pass rush one-on-one. He can't. He had 9 sacks in 43 games at Georgia. 9. 9 sacks in 43 games. He wasn't a pass rusher then. He's not a pass rusher now. He'll never be. All of a sudden, you guys just are hoping for it when he's never been in 6 years a pass rusher. Show me when. When has he ever been a pass rusher? How many hits on the quarterback did he have last year? None? When has that guy ever been a pass rusher? Now, if you're telling me Sills, he's going to be the 1 technique and the 0 technique. Okay. And for the record, I made it very clear to you what I said. Should have been taken in the 20s. Down around 23. He's a good ball player. He's just not a first and second down guy. And he'll never be. Davis is not soft. He just doesn't have the skill set to be a 3-down defensive tackle. He just doesn't. He is not a 3-down guy. When you watch Jalen Carter play, and then you watch Jordan Davis play, it's night and day. You see the skill set on Jalen Carter. You don't see the same skill set on Jordan Davis. You just don't. So he's never going to be that. Can he stop the run? We'll find out, Jeff. He showed flashes of it last year. We're going to find that out because teams are going to threaten that. Like Jordan Davis, going into his second year, I was hoping that he'd be better than Fletcher Cox. Not a chance. 34-year-old guy still better than him. The rotation defensive tackle will be Jordan Davis if he can hold off Milton Williams. Okay? You can't teach athletic and size, but you can teach techniques. Well, Jeremiah, when are those technique trainings ever going to pay off? He's never been a pass rusher. He's never been a pass rusher. Ability has to also be part of this. He's never been a pass rusher. Okay? When I see Jordan Davis lining up in 3rd and long, and I'm an offensive lineman, that's a series off for me. Because you know what he does? He doesn't run the points. He doesn't pick a point on the shoulder. He runs right into him. See, you have to understand something about blocking when you're a guard. Let me ask you this. Who wins this? If Jordan Davis, think about this, Tone, on being a blocker in offense, if Jordan Davis runs an offensive guard over, and that guy, and he's laying on top of him, and the quarterback gets the ball off, who won that play? Jordan Davis or the guard? The guard. Just because you run me over, did you get to the quarterback? No, I did my job. Your job is to get to the quarterback. TFLs, hits on the guy. Running over guards, that's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. An offensive guard can grab you, pull him on you. He wins that play. Now, he'll get a minus because of technique, but at the end of the day, it's all about not getting your quarterback hit. You get an F. Someone up here just said, take up space. You were 16th rushing against in run defense last year, which is not great. Wolford had 16 career sacks. Davis can be like him. Sure. And see, I made that comparison on Twitter, and everyone goes, well, Vince Wilfork, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. That's a disgrace to Vince. Vince was not a third down D tackle too. They took him off the field. Vince didn't play in third and long. They went to a 4-man pass rush. And he was taken off the field the majority of the time. That's right. 16 sacks in 13 years. That's right. But Vince is going to get some conversation for the Hall of Fame for what he did. By being a part of run defense. Now, we're going to find out whether or not Jordan Davis can stop the run like Vince. Vince was a fire hydrant. And he was tremendous against the run. One of the things that when he was up there with New England, he was a staple in that run defense. Okay? 16 sacks, 13 years, not bad. Well, let's see where let's see where Jordan Davis is, if he even plays that long. I watched the entire Eagle game twice, Barb. Let's move off of Jordan Davis for now. Sidney Brown. Boy, I told you this on draft day. Man, the kid reminds me of Bob Sanders. He runs around out there, man. You're going to see some plays this year where he's going to put himself out of position. But if he starts to control himself and keep himself inside a structure, Rodney Harrison, that's a little strong. Cam Chancellor, that's a little strong. This kid can play. This kid Brown can play. You got to get him on the field. Like, I'm not going to start him, but you know what I'm going to do with Brown? He's going to get some playing time. I'm putting him out there. I want to see this kid because I think this kid can make an impact play for you. And I see why you fall in love with him. Watch the way he runs around. Watch the way he runs to the ball. He runs through hits, not two hits. This is one thing I always tell my daughter when you're getting ready to hit somebody. Don't ever run to the hit. Run through the hit. And there's guys that are great hitters. See, the difference between being Earl Thomas, I like that. You see, when you watch Brian Dawkins play, he runs through dudes. Or Sayamalo or Ed Reed. Those guys ran through, not to. You see a lot of guys run to, like Deion Sanders ran 2 tackles, not through tackles. And Sidney Brown runs through. And I see why you fall in love with him when you put his tape on and you watch him. A couple false steps out there, but that's to be expected. He was amped up, excited, had a lot of energy. I want to get him on the field, man. Okay? I want to get him on the field. He's a ball player. He can play, man. Finding spots for him in moments like you know what I would do with him? If you're going to bring a blitz package, he's a guy I might fire off the perimeter. And let's see what they could do by picking him up because I think he'd run a running back over. And you let him come home a couple times. You have like watch this. You have him rush behind Reddick, and you fire Reddick to the inside and him to the outside, and you put some nickel packages out there and have him rush the passer. I'll tell you something, man. That's going to be a nightmare for somebody, especially if you're going against a 7-step drop quarterback, and that guy can't get out of danger. and you got those two dudes running around, and as long as you can set the edge on the other side with Josh Sweat, you might have some pretty good things going on with this kid. I want to figure out how to use Sidney Brown. He's a good-looking football player. I'll tell you what, of all the guys I've seen, besides Carter, Carter just looks explosive. This kid Brown looks like he can play, man. He like my takeaway him coming out of that Ravens game, very high on him. Very high on him. He's a hitter. He's a guy you see on draft day why you're like, why did he go in the later rounds and not go in the first round? Because personally, to me, when you watch him play and you watch him run around out there, he looks like he was underdrafted too. He does. He's a good-looking football player. I mean, I want to find a spot for him this coming season, and I'd love to find a spot for him in that New England game. Now again, that doesn't mean starting spot. Okay? I'll tell you this, man. Somebody else who impressed me, this kid Eli Reiss. Well, one more time here, too. I'll say this one more time. Your depth didn't – the way the guys moved around, you could see the coaching. It's Eli Reiss kid. Let me see a couple more games. Let me see him. Let me see a couple more, okay? Let me see him in game situation a little bit more. There could be something there, okay? Got to remember that. Let's see some continuity. Let's see some consistency before we start waving superstar flags at people here, okay? This kid, Reiss, pick six, all of that. Great. Do you guys know what Eli Reiss did? He put himself on the radar. Do you understand that? And very limited opportunity in controlled scrimmages and with those 2-minute practices they have. Eli Reiss now has done this. Let's watch this kid. Let's see what we got here. He's put himself on the radar. So that's a good thing when you put yourself on the radar like that. So good. Good for him. Good for him. Nolan Smith. He's a project. Didn't look like he really knew where he was out there at times. Looked a little lost. I think he played with too much excitement. He wanted to do so well. You can see that he just, it was a little chaotic for him. Okay? Needs to slow down a little bit. Just slow down. It's okay. I'm not holding that against him. Okay? Slow down. This is what I would watch. If I'm watching film with Nolan Smith, after we have our position meeting, I'm going to talk to him and go, slow down. Relax. Relax a little more. You were running around with your head chopped off out there. Okay? He looked like, again, he wants to make a play so bad. You see that. But here's the thing that most coaches, and this is what kills me about certain coaches, they try coaching that shit out of you. I don't want to coach his aggressiveness out of him. I want to contain it. You just tell him, slow down a bit. It'll come to you. Promise you. It'll come to you. His energy level was off the charts, and he was everywhere. Bad steps, bad reads, bad fits, got turned around a few times. And all of that is expected. So you just tell the kid, easy, we're going to get home. We're going to get there. Okay? I'm not down on him. He's got a lot of athletic ability, and they got to figure it out. But he's first got to stop with being, he's a rookie. Okay? So he just needs to cool. Okay? Just chill. Let's see how he does against Cleveland. I'll tell you something else against Cleveland. I feel you on that, Sills. I'd rather have a guy I need to pull off the edge than have to push him to the edge. Absolutely. If I was Nolan Smith, I would watch Myles Garrett this week when we have our controlled scrimmages, and then I would watch him in a game, and I would watch Reddick and him. You can't have any better examples of what the Eagles want you to look like. They want you to look like Reddick and Myles Garrett. That's what they want you to do. Is do that. Okay? So to me, that is exactly what I'm looking for. Look at Philly D goes, dude spends his entire day trolling. Hey, man, this ain't about whether or not I like Nakobe Dean. Like Nakobe Dean? That has nothing to do with the other 52 guys in the locker room. If that kid can't play, next guy up. This ain't about liking people here. That's the problem many of you fans have. You think this is about liking somebody. This is about getting the best defensive football players on a field to go kick someone's ass, not sitting around kissing or sucking someone's ass. This is about playing together. Trolling, the reason trolling, he's always hurt. That's not trolling, that's fact. Let's go play some ball, kid. You can't practice for 3 days and miss 7. Okay? Philly. Philly goes, hey, Sills, easy, kid. Okay, hey. Maybe it's me that needs to take Prozac. Sorry about that, Philly. That made my day. Philly, you made my day, man. You made my day, Philly. You made my day. Okay? Hey, Maniac. Maybe you're right about me, Maniac. Hey, Philly. Okay, you're right. You're right, Philly. I owe you a beer at Hooters. Okay? I owe you a beer at Hooters. I owe you a beer, Philly. Oh, man. All right, let me do this one here. Philly's like, what is this maniac doing? What is this guy's problem? Hey, Philly, if I put down all the things that are wrong with me, man, we'd be here for 7 hours. Take some Oxy Howie. That's a good one, Greg. You guys are all good, man. Thank you so much. Hey, one more time on DeAndre Swift. Boy, let me say this, man. Boy, I don't know. Could Detroit be wrong on 2 guys they send to Philly? Darius Slay and then Swift? Can they be wrong here too? Whew. Man, the way he ran, the way he cut, the way he evaded tackles, he's a good football player. He's a good football player, man. And you gave up, what was it, a 4th rounder for him? Shit. You got something here, man. Get him healthy. Get him. I don't want to see that guy for the rest of the season. Or preseason, excuse me. He's good. He's good. He could be an upgrade to Miles Sanders. He really has a shot. I didn't know, man, if it was going to translate over like that, but when you watch him in space and the way he runs and all that, man, he's really good. That kid can play. He's so more patient than Sanders. Sanders runs the tackle. He runs the contact. You know, he sees the guy, he runs right. Man, this guy Swift, man, is shifty. And get this. So you put him out there with Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, Goddard, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown. I don't know a defense in the NFL, maybe the Niners. And I don't think their corners are all that hot in San Francisco. And by the way, San Francisco better get their heads out of their asses because that was embarrassing. I'm going to get to the NFL here in a minute. That was embarrassing. But he can play, Swift. Swift can play. The running back room, outside of him, not really impressed. There's really not a lot there. Now I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna put a bow tie on it. I think the Philadelphia Eagles need to sign Matt Araiza. Your punting game, I mean, you don't have one. Why don't you go sign a guy who could kick you out of trouble anytime you get into a problem? Can you imagine if you had a weapon like Matt Araiza on your team too? What's the holdup here? What is the holdup? The guys that the Eagles have are not good enough. They are not good enough. They're not good enough to kick you out of a problem. Can you imagine this Eagle team having a guy like Reggie Roby or Ray Guy on it? Say you guys have a 3-and-out. And by the way, think of this. Say there's a 3-and-out in that New England game. And your punter shanks one like he always does. And he gives the ball to the Patriots on the 50. This kid Araiza kicks you a 65-yard punt, puts your team back on the 20, and helps your defense out in field position. How are you not signing that? How about this? How are you not even looking at that? Bringing him in for a workout. Okay? Cost you nothing, too. Hey, here's the hidden gem to this. This guy just wants to get on the field. You could pay this guy peanuts. Look, if you'll put Deshaun Watson on the field in this league, you could put him on the field in this league. Okay? Go get that guy. He's been cleared by the league. He's been cleared by lawyers. He's been cleared by prosecutors. He's been cleared by everybody. He was falsely accused. There's no issue here. And he could help the Eagle offense. Shit, man. I've been saying this since March. Go get him. Get this. You could sign that guy right now, and he would be an instant impact to your football team. What up, maniac? Yeah. Yeah, the Birds have shitty punters, man. Boy, I'd hate to have – dude, your special teams is not the best unit in the league, and your punter's not near one of the top guys. Your place kicker is the only thing that keeps that unit together. Okay? Dank goes like this. Being accused of gang rape is horrible. No shit. Especially when you're innocent. Damn right, man. That's horrible. That's Josh Sills. Being accused of rape? Someone trying to ruin your life? I mean, do you ever really get rid of that stigma and that scarlet letter that people put on you, especially people in our media? I don't know if you ever get rid of that, even if you're innocent. Being innocent today doesn't matter. It's not important. Okay? It's not important if you're right or wrong. It's how it's portrayed in the public and what the narrative is and what narrative it is to use. Do you know if the Eagles signed Matt Araiza, what it would be? Well, they drafted a guy who was involved in a murder case and reckless driving. They got a guy who was just accused of rape. Now they're going to go sign another guy who was accused of rape. Hey, look, if you're Bob Lang and you're Howie and you're Jeffrey Lurie, what, you don't think those conversations go on like that? How do you think people look at us? And I always tell you this, one of the reasons that Urban Meyer always got away with it in Florida was because he had Tebow. I think the Eagles could get away with that kind of stuff because they have Hurts. Okay? All right? Okay? What murder case? What facts on a murder case? What murder case are you talking about? Josh Sills was accused of murder? Rizza was accused of murder? Watson was? I missed it. I was talking about those three men. Anyway, go get him. Okay? So, here's my takeaway from the first week. The backups were okay. The DBs were shockingly really good. Swift stood out. Here, if I'm going to give game balls today, if I were to give a game ball, and again, you notice this, I don't bring up stats or yards per carry or any of that other shit. I talk about effort, what you did out there, how you moved. If I was going to give game balls to players, Swift, Ricks, Brown, Tanner McKee, I was okay with Morrow. Okay? Carter didn't play that much. Okay? By the way, they need to do some work. They need to do some work, in my opinion, with the backup wideouts. I don't know if that group is good enough. Because if you have an in here, from what my takeaway, here's where you're thin. Here again, your secondary going into the Cleveland game on Thursday. Is it Thursday? I feel better about. I feel better. Your running back position, I don't. Except for Swift. Your backup quarterback, Tanner McKee, I want to see him. If I were the Eagles, I would start him against the Browns. I would start him. Let me see a little more with him. Okay? Let me see. Start him Thursday. Okay? I was shocked as hell. We're going to go over the NFL at the top of the hour. I was shocked as hell to see Patrick Mahomes out there against the Saints. I was stunned. I think he played like 12 plays. I was stunned to see him out there playing. I don't want to see Swift anymore unless they're in organized team activities and organized practices. Like, I guess they got a practice today at 5 o'clock Eastern with the Browns. Put him in that situation, but I don't need him banged up or nicked up. Put the rest of them guys out there. Those other guys are okay. They can handle the load. I don't want Swift hurt at all because he potentially could change the look of that offense. I need to see Jalen Carter play more, and I need to see Jordan Davis play more, especially Davis. Davis has got to work on his pass rushing. He's got to work on his pass rush. He has no pass rush. I mean, he's not a very good pass rusher, which is disappointing. He's a limited ball player. Like, he's not a 3-down guy. He's not a 3-down guy now. As of today, he's just not a 3-down defensive lineman. Okay? I mean, like, how about this? You're going to take a first-round draft choice off the field on 3rd and long, and it's him because he's not good enough. Okay? Philly, I'm going to get to those other games at the top of the hour here. Okay? Okay? We're going to get to those games at the top of the hour here. I think he's scared from his head injury last year. They can get away with it because of the character they have in the O-line. Yeah, and with the quarterback, they signed Matt Araiza and stuff like that. Joseph, I just was saying, I like Tanner McKee. I thought you know what the impressive thing was? You know, a lot of people liked him at Stanford, but when he got to the combines, horrible 40, couldn't move around in drills, but had a really good arm. There was another kid, too, from Nevada, and him and the kid from Nevada couldn't jump over a yardstick. Okay? Carson was his name or something like that? I can't remember. But there was a kid from Nevada that was a quarterback also. They were kind of built the same way. I think McKee went on a mission, too. It's why he's 23. So he's more mature. Carson Strong, I think. Yeah, that's it. And Carson Strong doesn't have the arm, nor does he have the ability. I'll tell you something that you watched with Tanner McKee, too. You know what you watched with him? I think the Eagles drafted him last year. Is that right? He processes that information pretty quick. He processes that information, 2023 pick, okay. Yeah, I mean, I want to start him against the Browns. Let's start him against the Browns. Hey, by the way, like I said, at the top of the hour, we're going to go around the NFL and some of the things that I saw with the league. So again, wrapping up game one. It's not important. The wins and the numbers. Not playing Jalen was a smart thing. Not playing the frontline stars was another thing. You don't get too sideways, but, the guys that need reps, got some reps. Okay. Yeah, I want to see McKee start him against Cleveland. I wouldn't mind starting him against the remaining teams. Maybe get Jalen some playing time in game 3 of the exhibition season. Maybe something like that. You get him a series. Hey, cue ball. I saw that with Mozzie Smith. Here's the thing with Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith, the defensive tackle with the Cowboys. So he had one flash play, and the rest of them, he was out of gas. And he was gassed. And he wasn't moving his feet. People think that guy's good. I think he's strong. I think he could play around 10 plays a game, 10, 15, 20 plays a game, tops right now. He's overweight. Watch him play. You'll see him pick a guy up and throw him on his head, which is good. But then you'll turn around and watch him take 6 plays off because he's gassed. He's not ready to come to camp. He wasn't ready and he wasn't in shape. And it's on display. And what happens when you're not in shape? When you're not in shape, you forget your plays, you forget your alignment, and you get blocked. See, in that league, you have to be in condition mentally and physically. Because what happens is you get so tired, you start to forget technique, especially if you haven't done it. This is why I'm really down on the Kobe. Someone go, and Tone, no disrespect to anybody. Honestly, no disrespect. If I hear that Nakobe Dean is an electrical engineer or some sort of engineer again, I'm going to shit on them. I don't care what he is and how smart he is. If you're not out there playing and getting game reps, just because you know what to do doesn't mean you'll do it when it counts the most. I don't care. I passed the bar. Have you ever tried a case? No. Well, what kind of lawyer are you? Well, I passed the bar. That doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it. Game reps, my friends. That's what cuts it. Pick and go. Smith would be better next year. Maybe. He's going to get blown up this year, though. And Jerry Jones was comparing him to Reggie White. I'm like, I don't ever remember Reggie being gassed. I don't ever remember Reggie getting beat. I don't ever remember Reggie White getting beat on a play. I mean, that guy was a freak show. Didn't work like that, my friends, when it came to that guy. Did not. That guy is the greatest Philadelphia Eagle that has ever played. 92, there'll never be another one of them like him. There'll never be another 92. Okay? Just like there'll never be a number 56 again. There could be another number 12 from New England. There will never be a 56 or 92 ever in the NFL like those two guys. Okay? Ever. All right. Guys, we are so excited to be telling you about our great relationship with our friends at Hooters. This bad puppy has gone on for years, and this year Hooters is celebrating their 40th anniversary, and we're going to be doing so many great promotions at the King of Prussia Hooters, and we look forward to having you out there. I put it on my Twitter page already, all the events and all the things that we're going to be doing at the King of Prussia Hooters. Don't forget, though, northeasthooters.com, all 7 locations. There's a location nearest you, so you can go enjoy some of the great specials. 40 years this bad puppy's been going on, and we have been so proud to be part of it. Now, look, if you're doing draft parties, do me a favor, call them now. Reserve your seat, because exhibition football, draft parties, this is the place that you want to have. The iconic Hooter girls are going to be there to serve you. Tuesdays, you buy 10 wings, you get 10 boneless wings free, just like that. Kids eat free on Saturdays. How about the happy hours, weekday specials? 6 items, $6. Try the fried pickles. You're absolutely going to love them. Make sure you check out, again, all the great Hooters in the Northeast. Go to northeasthooters.com for all the 7 locations and the ones nearest you. Don't forget, we're going to be doing so much with people at the King of Prussia Hooters. And do me a favor, when you go to Hooters, you make sure you tell them Big Sil sent you.